All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is Olivia on Air. We're up to episode number 35. We have Olivia on this evening. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Allergies are really bad around here, though. Are they getting bad around where you are?
In fact, I was just talking to someone on the phone the other day, and I had to excuse myself because I got a huge runny nose while I was doing that. Yes, so they're getting bad, but my body has adjusted over the years, so I'm not as bad as it was say when I was say 20 years ago when I used to go to severe sneezing fits. But yeah, they're definitely starting to pop up here.
Yeah. I mean, when I go on walks with my dogs, it's starting to get very difficult to walk the whole distance just because I start sneezing. My one of my dogs has allergies and he starts sneezing and it's just I mean, today I was going on a walk. My eyes started itching so bad. I ran home. I just ran home.
Oh goodness, were you able to see okay? How did that?
Yeah, it's weird because when I'm inside, I'm good and I take enough well, I probably don't take enough allergy medication because my body would probably like some sort of antihistamine drip or something. But um I take allergy medication every morning and every evening, but when I go outside it just hits me. I don't know, it's weird.
Oh, that's yeah. That sounds like what I used to get. I would work and I would just start going to these severe. The eyes weren't so bad. It was more just a massive amount of sneezing, just constantly. Yeah,
Yeah.
sneeze. And people say,
The
"Why don't you take
worst.
allergy medicines?" And I was like determined to that my body would somehow build up some sort of immunity. If I don't know if it's true, but if you take the something to counter it, I was convinced that my body wouldn't be able to build up that immunity. I don't know if that's true or not. So I would purposely not take anything to counter it.
I am not that strong. I think I mean the worst is just the itchy lungs. You know when it's just itchy in your lungs and then your throat feels like it's closing and it's really itchy and then your eyes start itching and then you start sneezing a lot and your body is just shutting down cuz allergies. That's I don't think I could do that.
Well, I hope everything works well. I assume that this is just the beginning. So I assume it's going to last. How long does it usually last for you? Does it last into the summer? Or?
I don't know. I guess so. I mean, I feel like last year it wasn't as bad, but I might be wrong. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, the in this area with the we had temperatures close to 70. We're supposed to have another snowstorm this evening or tomorrow morning. That is, and they're calling for
Wow.
1 to 3 inches of snow and temperatures by tomorrow night dropping to below 20 degrees again. So we're all over the place still. But
Yeah.
about a week ago, we're up to 80 degrees. So I'm not sure. After this, though, it's supposed to gradually work its way back up to like the 60s and 70s by the end of next week. So just one of those odd things, I guess. We're not really, I guess, not really fully out of winter is what I'm trying to say there. So.
Yeah. Next Sunday morning, or this upcoming Sunday morning, it's supposed to be 40 degrees here.
Oh, goodness. Wait, that's like 2 days from today? You mean this upcoming Sunday, right?
Today it was pretty sunny for the morning, and then it got really gloomy and cloudy. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, and then it's supposed to be 40 degrees tomorrow morning, or Sunday morning.
Hmm. Oh, that's pretty for Florida. That's pretty cold, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just strange.
That's daytime highs, correct?
Yeah. Sunday, well, I don't know, maybe Sunday early morning, but
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's probably the same storm that we're going to be getting up here. So it's just probably going along the East Coast, I assume. Some sort of like cold drop that's going to then everything will. What do you
yeah.
call it? Like maybe an Arctic chill? I don't know. It's one of those. So. But before we go too far, I want to remind everybody if you'd like to help support what we're doing, we have an affiliate link in the description below for NordVPN. That we've had. In case anyone's wondering, I've checked on it at least over the past week or so. We've had about 200 people click on the link, which is really nice. Only one person's bought the service so far. We appreciate that. But NordVPN is a. If you want to get a VPN to hyper protection, if you want to protect your information. It will work very well for that. And several people have stated that you can stream from different parts of the world and watch shows in areas where you normally be blocked out of. And I would definitely recommend NordVPN because I've used it in the past and it's a pretty good service. So that link is in the description below. And if you decide to do it, we appreciate your support there.
Thank you. Speaking of internet safety, one of my friends recently, now hold on, wait a second. Do you know that Starbucks has an app?
No, I did not know that.
Starbucks has an app and they have a really intricate reward system. Well, it's not intricate, it's just really fleshed out. It's like pretty established. That's the word I'm looking for. It's an established reward system, and you get you can get a Starbucks gift card that you can reload and get points on it. And one of my friends recently, I guess she had traveled somewhere, and I guess she didn't have any VPN or anything on her phone. And when she came back, somebody had stolen $50 off of her Starbucks gift card, and she had to call them and explain the entire situation and get her money back.
Oh, that's wow. Did she get it back though? I mean,
I think so. But it's just crazy. I didn't even know people could go through the Starbucks app and steal money off of a gift card. But, hackers can, I guess, do anything.
Oh, it was a gift card. Oh, okay. I misunderstood. I missed that part. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It's called a gift card, but it's like it's a reloadable card that you get rewards for. So it's kind of like a Starbucks. It's just like a Starbucks credit card sort of thing.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Kind of. Not it's called a gift card, but yeah, and so I didn't know somebody could hack into, is hack the right word? Maybe not. Go in on your phone and get your money from a Starbucks app.
I'm not sure why you would even have a Starbucks app. What is the advantage of having such a thing?
Well, for every amount of money, I don't know how much money equals how many points, but for every time you spend money, you get a certain amount of points through the Starbucks app, using the Starbucks gift card. And then after a certain amount of points, you get, a free coffee, a free sandwich, a free pastry or whatever, stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Okay, when I was food shopping about a year or two ago, they said, if you bought your food and you used our app, they would give me like $10 off, or I don't know if it was $10 off, but a certain amount off my order if I showed them that I had that installed on my computer on my phone. And I didn't do it at the time, but it might be something similar to that. So every time I go to the checkout, they said, just, do you have I was at Shoppers Food Warehouse. Do you have the Shoppers app? I go, no. And they said, okay, well, they would go to a little spiel of if you put that in there, you'll get this discount. And I was like, so does it seem like something, it sounds like something like that. Is that what you're?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. You don't really get discounts. It's just a points and rewards system.
Okay. I wonder if they're using that to track where you're going and everything too. That's probably what the benefit to them is. They probably get something out of it. I'm sure. So
that's true.
So
yeah, probably.
If you had a VPN, I don't know if it would help you protect yourself from getting your data. So
yeah, I mean, I feel like it's good advice not to do online banking, out in public. But if you're traveling, I guess you don't always have a choice,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, talking about drinks, did you want to talk about your food discovery?
Yes. So, I saw a few ads on my YouTube for Dwayne The Rock Johnson's new energy drink. He has a lot of business ventures, it seems, lately. Also, I used my new fisheye camera lens. That's why it looks like that. I don't know. I was feeling fun. And so that's what it's called.
Sorry, wait, before you go too far, fisheye camera lens. Is that like I've never, what is the benefit of using that?
Oh, it's just a fun little fisheye. It's a fisheye lens that you clip over your phone. I just thought it'd be fun.
Okay. It looks like, I guess it gives you a little bit of a curvature. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Just curious there. Alrighty.
I think it was super popular in a lot of music videos. Like a fisheye lens was very popular for a lot of music videos in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to bring it back clearly by these pictures, these high quality photos. But yeah, you know who Dwayne The Rock Johnson is?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. So he has a lot of business ventures recently, I feel, and this is one of them. And now I'd like to preface this by saying I don't like energy drinks other than coffee. So I automatically have a bias against it because all energy drinks taste a little gross to me and a little too artificial in my experience, in my limited experience. But I don't know, something compelled me when I was at the grocery store to buy this. Maybe Dwayne Johnson, like with his mind powers or something, making me buy this. Who knows? I
I gotta
did.
say, I gotta say, from what I understand, he's not legally allowed to use the rock anymore. So, uh,
Really?
you can say whatever you want, but from what I understand, he's allowed to use it, and only if he's representing like the wrestling league or whatever it is that he's part of, or that was where he used it originally. Is what I meant to say. So,
Wow.
he
That's a
could,
little catty of the wrestling league, I feel.
yeah.
They didn't have to do that.
Which I find funny because there was an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine where he was a guest star on the show, and they when he came on, his name was just The Rock. His real name was not listed there in the credits, just The Rock. So that was back
Yeah.
in the mid '90s or so.
Wow. Interesting. But yeah, I tried this energy drink, and now I don't know its effects on energy because I did not drink enough of it to know that information, to feel the effects of the energy or whatever he's claiming there. It was really gross. Now, I don't like zero sugar things. I feel like if I'm going to have sugar, if I'm going to have something sweet, I want it to be real sugar because I personally don't have a problem processing that with my body, and I would prefer the real stuff. And it the fake sugar is very gross in this to me, and the flavors is it tastes like, how can I explain this? It tastes like it's just gross. I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't. You know how some car oils and car fluids are like bright yellow?
Uh-huh.
If you ever imagine, I don't, this is very specific, but if you imagine how that tastes, to me, I imagine it to taste like this.
Oh, so
Not great.
you're drinking like motor oil?
It's not, yeah, and it's just like, it tastes like very super artificially sweet, and I would just prefer to get my energy from espresso. At least I know that it's beans, you know?
Mm-hmm. I do you think he developed this himself, or do you think somebody just made this and just said, hey, Dwayne The Rock, would you like to put your name on it and we'll pay you money for that?
I don't know. I am sure that he had input on it, but I don't know how much.
Is
And
that
I don't know if he drinks it, he really drinks it. Maybe I mean, he's like a super gym guy. And in my knowledge of gym guys, they do drink their fair share of like protein shakes and energy drinks and like pre-workout and all that. To me, it tastes so gross. So maybe he's accustomed to this kind of flavor, and the people that his target audience is also accustomed to this flavor, and they're all, in the same boat of thinking that it's good. Maybe.
it says natural caffeine?
I
Is
don't
there
believe that for a second.
natural I mean, is there, I mean, I know if my diet does not allow me to really consume sugar. I know I'm not allowed to eat natural sugar or artificial sugar of any kind, on a regular basis anyway, little bits. But is there a difference between caffeine and natural caffeine as far as like if you're trying to avoid caffeine? It seems to me, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I would think that it wouldn't matter. Caffeine is just caffeine.
Well, here's a little secret. Um, Food brands can put natural legally, they can put natural on pretty much anything. It doesn't really have to be, their argument can be pretty much, well, it comes from nature, so it's natural. Kind of the same argument as I don't know, people who smoke weed or something. It's natural, which technically that's true, but natural doesn't necessarily mean good, because shrooms are also natural, and that's not for everybody.
It's true. I guess, well, natural, if you want to go by the literal definition, means would be non-interference by human beings of any kind, which wouldn't that remove selective breeding, which is what most foods are anyway. So,
Yeah.
but so I guess you could say by that, if they're excluding all that, then I guess technically anything would be natural, like you're saying. So,
Right.
and what's the mask mean exactly? I'm just curious. Is there?
I know that Dwayne Johnson is, I think his father is from Hawaii, and he might also be Hawaiian, and I think it's that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I gotta say that he's got this. I mean, the term "the Rock" definitely is very fitting. He has a very strong physique, for sure.
Yeah.
So, and he's been able to maintain it considering how he's getting up there in age too. That's quite impressive. So
He's getting scarier.
he's getting
I would
scared.
not want to meet him, especially after saying this. He could punch me in the face.
Oh,
I mean, not like, but, I don't know, scary. Looks scary.
I saw him in the Jumanji movies. I thought he was okay in those. He seemed pretty good.
Yeah, he was funny. I saw the first remake of the Jumanji.
Yeah, the first, Welcome to the Jungle, I think it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I saw the second one too, but yeah, he was pretty good. So, and which changed my opinion of him. I wasn't sure how to react. So I find that when it comes to wrestlers, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I do like certain wrestlers. So I've changed like I said, I've changed my opinion about The Rock or Dwayne Johnson. And the other ones I like are Jerry Lawler, Roddy Piper, who's passed on, and also Jesse Ventura. So I'm not really into wrestling, but I do like them as individuals. All right, they seem pretty decent people. So I based on what you're saying, I probably would not even try his drink though. So sorry, it doesn't sound like it's too appetizing by what
Yeah.
you're saying. And looking at the ingredients, I don't know if oops, that's the wrong one. We got to the other one. Ingredients looks like there's some natural sugars in there anyway, so I'm not sure. Is there? Or am I missing that?
I don't know what L-leucine, L-valine, and L-isoleoline, L-glutamine, L-arginine, L-citrulline.
If you can't
I know what
pronounce
any
these
of those
things,
are.
it's usually something that sounds like to avoid.
Niacinamide.
Yeah.
Yeah, pantothenate, pyridoxine hydrochloride. Wow.
Yeah, too much
There's
stuff.
riboflavin in there. That's like part of the the cell, like how do I explain that? I'm pretty sure it's one of the products or byproducts of your cell production or something. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Well, before I go too far, I'll say Kairua says hey, so hey back. And we had another hello Zimucha from who, sorry to pronounce your name. I'm not going to try to butcher your name, but hello. That was from earlier on. So hello to you too. So, but what were you saying? So it's from what now?
Let me look it up really quick. I don't want to spread misinformation online.
But yeah, like I was saying, if there's too many of these words that just look hard to pronounce, I usually think it might be possibly a good idea to avoid. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. Based on your recommendation as well, I'll just avoid it altogether. It's just one more reason to avoid it, I guess.
Oh, riboflavin is vitamin B12.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Well, B12 is not too bad.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but I try to stay away from the fake sugar, just because it tastes real not good to me.
So it's just a fancy way of saying it. Vitamin B6 and B12. Okay. Well, maybe there's some health drinkers out there could tell us if they like it. Anyone want to leave a comment and let us know? See what you say.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not the best person to review this. It just seemed cool.
And I assume that's ZOA or ZOA. I don't know. Is that what it is?
I think so.
I guess it's supposed to be an A. So, okay. Alrighty. Well, and by the way, does it come in more than one flavor? Was this the only flavor available?
That is original. There are a few flavors. I saw at least 2 other flavors, but I wanted to do the original one.
Okay. And were there any other designs on it? Were they all basically the same design and like different colors or something?
I think it was the same design.
Okay. Alrighty. So your recommendation is no, and maybe we can get some more people to comment on that. Got some people watching right now, and maybe see what they say about it as well. So
Yeah, I would say if you drink energy drinks on a regular basis and you like the taste, then try it, because I don't know, what you might like. But if you don't like energy drinks, I don't see why you would start with this one.
okay, that's fair. Alrighty. So would you like to talk about ask our question for this week?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry. Before we go, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun here. We need to look at our question from 2 weeks ago. Let me bring that up.
It's true.
Quick. So it was about allergies.
Oh wow, still relevant.
Very, very relevant. Here we go. So bring it up here. Give me 1 second. Put too many screens up here. There we go. So a scale of 1 to 5, how bad are your allergies? And we got about, was that 1,500 votes? Let me see. Let me bring my magnifier up here so I can see a little easier. 1,500 votes. So 73% with a 1. Next down, it just pretty much goes down the line there. 12% with 2, 7% with 3, 4% a tie. I'm sorry, yeah, 4% a tie of 4 and 5. So
interesting. I'm very jealous of you. 73%.
yeah. It's when I was growing up, my dad was virtually not affected by allergies. My mother and I were very much affected by allergies, and my sister wasn't when she was a kid, but as an adult, that has changed, and now she's very much like I was when I was younger. So it changes as time goes on. But my dad, I don't ever remember my dad ever suffering from any kind of allergies, at least like pollen and things like spring related allergies. So let's take a look at our comments here. Let's see. Team Rogers, I totally allergic to hay fever and other things. Yeah, I can know what you're going through there. Salty Dominion says I outgrew mine, got hair in places I didn't and stuff. Okay. Chubbs Fierce says I have seasonal allergies. March through May are my worst months for me. I need to take antihistamines often. That's what it was like for me for a while. Nico, the Gmod kid, says I don't have any allergies, nothing nut related, nothing season related, nothing spill related, nothing. Okay, nothing. Let's see, not even bee related. Oh, that's good, because when I was younger, I had a mild reaction to bee stings, and as an adult, my bee sting allergies have gotten a lot worse. So that's good you don't have those. I don't have any allergies. That's really good. Well, we're jealous of you, Nico. So let's see. Oh, here's more. Oh, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Sorry. I didn't too much there. Next one I'll skip. Kiss Best Fan. There are also other allergies you can live with that doesn't make you sneeze. That's true. You can get rashes and irritants on your skin. I know most people are allergic to poison ivy. That's why they avoid it. I know some people are not allergic to poison ivy, so it doesn't affect them at all. So yes, but basically poison ivy is essentially just people that react to it are just basically having an allergic reaction. So
interesting.
I will tell you a story, and I won't get too graphic, but I was a kid and I was out in the woods, and I was near a stream, so I decided I didn't want to wait to go to a bathroom, so I just went in the little stream that's going on by, and I was nowhere near any poison oak or poison sumac or whatever it was, but my whole crotch area got reacted to poison something. I think it was poison sumac. So I was itchy down there for a week afterwards. And
sumac.
Yeah, poison sumac is one of the poison sumac, poison oak, and poison ivy. They're all similar in ways. So I think and when I went, my mother took me to the doctor and I said, I didn't touch anything. He said, you don't have to because all those poison, all three of those different poisons will just like pollen float through the air so they can touch your skin. And since that part of your body, or most people obviously wear clothing that cover that part of their body on a regular basis, becomes more susceptible because it's more sensitive. So that's why I got it so badly, he said at
I
that
will
point.
never walk through the woods without long sleeves, long pants on, ever again.
Well,
I had no idea.
don't forget your face too.
Yeah, wearing a bee mask then. Wearing the full bee outfit. Oh my god, I had no idea that it just floats to the I'm even more scared of poison oak now. Oak is the tree that I'm most allergic to out of like every plant and every tree. Oak is like the worst for me.
Mm. So have you? I
So
assume you've gotten it before.
no, they did one of those allergen blood test things, and then they also did a little stab test, when they stab your arm with a bunch of like needle pricks that have different allergens on it, and the oak oil stuff, the one that hold on, wait, how do I explain this? The oak oil one was the bump that stayed there for like a month.
Oh, okay.
I'm so
Oh,
allergic to oak. So
okay. Well, before we go too far, let me might go down. Oops. Grab my magnifier. Give me a second here. Got Norbert 011 saying hello, hello back, and we also have Faisal saying something. Little eyes, ears, and a little thingy there. So thank you for that too. So, and we got one more comment to read, and I'll give me 1 second here. Beast Mode says pretty crappy, but I live in a rural area with more trees. So, and yeah, I can relate to that. I do know that I've had when I live in the DC area, Virginia. I remember having some cousins that were from a more dry climate. I believe somewhere out in the Midwest, maybe, or maybe like closer to like California, Arizona type areas, and they came here and they couldn't stop sneezing. So this area, if you're allergic, you have allergies, is going to be really bad for you, for sure.
that's interesting because when I was a kid, I lived in California, and then when I was 8ish, we moved to Maryland, and I didn't have allergies until we moved to Maryland.
Oh, okay. So that's probably the same, very probably the same kind of story. So, and were they really bad?
As far as I know, my dad said that he actually didn't, because my dad and my mom both don't have as severe of allergies as I do, and my dad said that I kept telling him that my skin is itchy, and my like when I was a kid, I kept telling him that my skin was itchy, my nose was itchy, I was sneezing a lot, and he didn't really understand because he had never experienced allergies too bad, but so that was an interesting experience because he didn't. I don't think he even knew that there were allergists to go to, and they had to find one for me. So,
Sounds like your dad and my dad would get along fine. So we're both you and I are basically the same as in the same situation when it comes to our dealing with our fathers. They have no idea what we're suffering through. So
yeah, and then once in a while, it's kind of random though. Every once in a while, my dad does have like a bout of allergies for some reason. So
oh,
he
so he does
does
get them.
get it, but it's very random and it's not nearly as bad as my allergies. And my mom really just gets like itchy eyes. It's not really much.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, let's see. What else did you? Anything else you'd like to add to our question here before we move on to our next question?
No.
Okay. So, do you want to read our question for our viewers?
Yes. So this next up question is, do you like video games where you build the world? For example, SimCity, City Skylines, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I know that there's also like Zoo Tycoon games where you kind of build your own zoo or your own roller coaster or whatever, or amusement park, I guess. And if so, do you have a favorite or a least favorite? And comment below. And the first option is yes, all of them. The second one is only some of them. The third one is none of them. The fourth one is I don't care. Because I watched some cities skylines, like videos of people playing cities skylines, and it looks really fun. So, but I also heard that there's a lot of drama with SimCity because apparently it's like very buggy or something like that. So
SimCity. So SimCity is just designing cities, or is it a part of the Sim whole uh, uh, world? I don't know. How does that work exactly?
it's by the same, as far as I know, it's by the same brand as like it's under the Sims 4 brand or
Mhm.
the Sims brand, I guess. But it's just building like a city you can do, or I guess you're supposed to be able to do like residential, commercial, bridges, trains, airports, cargo ships, like everything that a city has. It's just kind of like the simulation of being a city planner, and you just have more freedom.
Oh, okay. Hmm. So, and you said you have not done this. You did watch people. Is that, you said you watched something? Was this one of the ones you watched?
The City Skylines one was the one that I watched where someone was a real city planner was playing City Skylines and kind of like showing how he does it, and it was really cool. It was really fun to watch. Um, so yeah, and you can have, it's very detailed. You can have any kind of road you want. You can do like roundabouts. You can just do anything with your roads, and you have to like take into account um, the water that the people drink, the waste that the people create, the energy that they use, garbage dumps, education, hospitals, police, firefighters, everything. So it's cool.
And Norbert Orlevin says SimCity is the original. Okay. The I've never done any of them. I do remember several years ago. I remember there was like a you talked about the roller coaster one. I do remember seeing that. It seemed like interesting for like maybe a few seconds, and I was like, I thought to myself, yeah, that might be a little boring. But I've never tried it. It just seemed like it might be interesting, and then quickly I just decided not. I didn't want to try it. But I didn't know that. I that was a long time ago. It was probably like 20 years ago. I didn't know they still made them, the roller coaster simulator. So
Yeah, they have come out with a few of them, I think. That's not really something I would be into, but if they had something where you could build a roller coaster and then in like a with a first person camera you could watch, you could kind of like ride the roller coaster through your computer, that would be fun.
yeah, that would be kind of cool. But I wonder how long that would entertain people. To me, it'd be like it'd be kind of cool for a little bit, and I think I might get bored with it after a while. So,
That
but
could entertain me for a while if they had the first person camera.
City Skylines is fee on Epic Store right now. By the way, I think it means free.
Ooh, what's
I
Epic
think
Store?
Epic Store. You know what it's like what's one of those gaming platforms that you can purchase games like Steam. You know what Steam is?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
like Steam, but it's done by a different company. So
Wow.
yeah, so
On
they're in competition with Steam right now. So to give you an idea. So, but
Cool. Steam is like $30 for
yeah,
cities skylines.
it says free there. So yeah,
Yeah.
okay, okay, cool. Well, thanks for that.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So did you want me to post that? I'm all set. Anything else?
That looks good.
Okay, there we go. So we'll post that, and we'll come back in a little bit, and we'll see what kind of. I think that'll be a good one. I think a lot of people will react to that one. So
Yeah, because we've asked questions about the general the general genres of games that people like, but I never got into the specifics, I guess.
no, no, this will be definitely a. I think it'll be unique enough that a lot of people will probably respond to it. So
Yeah, and I know that a lot of people either really hate or really love SimCity. I've never really looked too far into the drama of it, but it looks just I don't know. I don't know what the gossip is with that, but
I've never. never gotten into it. I've watched, and I wouldn't say, maybe I've seen little bits and pieces. I don't know if that really is considered watching. Maybe a couple of seconds here and there. It's just never. I'm not saying it's bad. I just never seemed to interest me enough to actually want to partake in it or actually just watch it any further. So, but I'm not saying it's bad. I just like I said, maybe I'm missing out on something that's really fun. I don't know. So.
Yeah, I just like the idea of being able to control how a city is planned out and put more parks in, because I wish there were more parks around.
Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting. Does it? I would assume that if you put, does it? Well, I don't know if you know this. If you put too many parks in there, would it destroy the economy of the? If you like filled it with way too many parks or something, would it destroy the economy of the city? And
Maybe I have to buy the game and see.
yeah, or if you don't have enough parks, or maybe no parks, or maybe just one little park, maybe people would become depressed because they don't have any place to go, like for
Yeah,
relaxation.
because that's definitely something that they account for in the game, because the guy was talking about how every time you place a park or you designate an area as a park, um, people like there's like boosted happiness around, and then the value of the homes go up. So you get more money the more parks, as long as you have, I guess, as long as you have a good balance.
Okay. Well, it's yeah. If someone could leave a comment either on the question or poll, or if you want to leave in a comment here in the video, you'll let us know because Olivia and I are just not we're just not informed enough. I guess you could say
Right.
we're just gathering information from what we heard, and Olivia has more information than I do for sure. So
It
okay,
would be really cool. This is why I would want to play Sim City, is if I could build my own Sim City and then play with it in the Sims game, in like a Sims 4 game. That would be really complicated, I bet, for a computer, and I doubt my laptop would be able to handle that, but it would be cool.
does have you ever played The Sims, The Sims 4? Or
Yeah, that's the like kind of the only game I play.
oh, okay. 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 So as far as the another aspect of it, does it allow you when you build your city? Does it allow you to pick different time periods? So, like, say, 100 years ago, or is it just modern day? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm sure it's just modern day with the Sims City thing.
Okay.
It'd be cool if you could build a medieval town,
Yeah, that's what I
and
was thinking of.
you wouldn't. Yeah, because they didn't have any like, they didn't have plumbing really. That would be funny to watch.
Oh, well, they did have. Well, running water has been around for a couple thousand years. So, all you,
Yeah, but didn't
all
they
you,
have? It was it was like the people with, the people that didn't live on the street that had homes. Their toilets kind of jutted out from the house, and then it just plopped into the street.
oh, okay, that kind of plumbing is what you mean.
Yeah,
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for plumbing for running water, all you need is a big tower, and the water would collect in the water, and the gravity would pull the water down. You just turn your faucet on, and the water would come through. So it's not very
that's true.
complicated. In fact, that's how water works nowadays. It's you have the big tower in the water. Gravity just pulls your water down to your faucet. So in
Right.
most cases, not all cases. That's not where it is where I live. I have mine's different. For me, it's I have a well, and the water has to be pumped up, and then the pressure just forces out through my faucet like that. So, but alrighty, yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. So I didn't know actually about. So basically, their toilets would just empty into the streets, or
A lot of times, I guess. I mean, unless they had an outhouse. I don't know if that was a thing. I just know that, um, and a lot of times they would have it was I guess it was like a septic area. I wouldn't call it a proper septic tank, but I know that there have been, I don't know much about it because it's kind of gross to research, but
yeah.
I do know that there have been castles with septic areas where the all the waste drains into,
Mm.
and some poor peasant has to go and clean it out, I'm sure.
I remember watching a cartoon where they showed and I don't know why they were showing this. They were showing a how they would take care of their business, and they showed the person doing their business, and they'd show the uh, excrement falling from a great height into a big pile of other excrement down below. And this is a
Yeah.
cartoon that's being run on some sort of, I don't know why they were showing it, but they were showing how it worked in a castle. That you brought that, it just came back to me. This is a long time ago when I was a kid. I don't know what show I was watching, but they actually showed it. So it was not real, of course, it was a cartoon, but still the fact that they showed that was interesting. So
Well, if it was a cartoon and it was for kids, jokes make kids laugh, and sometimes adults.
yeah. so, so alrighty. So going from poop now to broadcast news, which is our movie review. So this is a movie you and I know I had not seen this, and you had not seen this either. Is that correct?
Well, I saw it once before,
Okay.
recently, and uh, I was interested in knowing if the behind the scenes, if you knew that whether or not it was realistic or not, like how it was, how they were doing the production of the news in the news station.
Yeah. So yeah, your question was, I remember when we discussed this last. I don't know if we were talking during our show. Was how accurate is the news part of it? And because of that, I thought the movie was going to be focusing on that part of it. Turns out the movie is actually more of a love story, which threw me off. So I was
Oh yeah,
watching.
it's like half. I think it's about 50-50.
Okay, that seemed to okay. Okay, I guess it's all right. It seemed to me the love story seemed to be the main part of this of the whole thing. So, but yeah, I would say because I worked at a full service news radio station. I was WTOP. I worked there for from 2001 to 2005, and I can tell you that it seemed, and that's radio, not television, but still, it was virtually identical in every way. I think they covered it very well. I think it was very accurate as to how news is portrayed. And this was in the movie. It was a news network, if I'm not mistaken, not a TV station. Was that right? Some sort of a network affiliate, or how did that work exactly?
I'm not sure. I
Is it?
thought it was a TV station. I thought they were that she was a producer, and the two love interests were uh, a reporter and an anchorman, right? And
Yes.
then they, I don't know how network versus like anything else. I don't know.
Because, well, you had yeah. So basically, you had Holly Hunter's characters and the two love interests, like you said, Albert Brooks and was it William Hurt? William Hurt, and then you had the national point. They kept on going to periodically to well, like I don't have my list in front of me. He's a main. Hold on, let me bring it up here because I'm gonna bring it up here. Hold on a second. I'll bring it up so we can look at the same time here. Here's the list from IMDb. He's the main star. You'll know who I'm talking about. He was the main anchor that they kept on going to at the national level.
Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson. Thank you. Thank you. So I thought that he was like at the national point, like a CNN host, and he was going to one of the. They were like either a network affiliate in the sense that they were part of his network, whatever it was, whatever news network they were, and they were just that the DC branch of that, like the DC office, I guess. That's what I or if they were a TV station that was just affiliated with that national level with the national network. It never seemed to be made clear as far as I could tell.
I would guess the former.
Yeah. So the and the if it was a TV station, I don't know of any local TV station that does all news all the time. So but the it would still I would think that would still be very much the same. Only the like I said, I worked at a station that was a news station that was 24/7 news. And it was huge. They had at any given time there was at least like at least a dozen people in the newsroom. More than usually during the day, it was could be twice that. You know, working around, very busy, very hectic, and running around. And the scene where there's a scene where Joan Cusack runs with a tape, and they're trying to get it on air. And I've worked in situations just like that. So it was I thought they captured that part of it extremely well. So.
Cool.
And the interesting thing is, this movie came out in '87, and when I was at WTOP, I started in 2001. And when I was there, when I first started, that is, they were essentially 100% not digital, non-digital. They were still using tapes. They weren't. There was no. Everything was on tape. Reel to reels were still being used. Cart machines, which are small, look like old 8 tracks, and it was that's the radio version of the large like 1/4 inch tapes or 3/8 or whatever type of tapes they were using in this one. They look like 3/4 inch tapes, which was very common back in the 80s into the 90s for TV stations. So nowadays it would be all obviously digital. So they would have the getting the tape on air, so to speak, would be much more, a little bit, would probably be just as hectic, but you would probably not have to, it would probably just be basically just getting it into the system more quickly. You would probably you wouldn't have to run it down the hallway as fast. But when I was working at WTOP, I remember situations where people were running down the hall, getting tapes in the machines and all things. They're very much like that. So.
That's fun. I was hoping that was real. That seemed really cool.
And other people said that I don't know if it was James L. Brooks. He's the guy who directed this, and he wrote it as well. I think he might have had a news background. I'm not sure about that, so someone wants to correct me on that. He was trying to make it as authentic as possible. And James L. Brooks is also, he's done other things. One of the things, two things I know him best for are the TV show Taxi from the late 70s, early 80s, and he was also one of the three developers of the TV show The Simpsons, which would be him, Sam Simon, and Matt Groening, who was also the actual creator of The Simpsons. So I usually like his stuff. Taxi, the TV show, was doing very well. The Simpsons, when it first came out, was done very well. But the newer versions of The Simpsons, I don't watch anymore. It's just not funny at all. But when he was, I don't think he has any real direct input into the newer versions of the show either. But when I watched Taxi, he has a certain style that is very prevalent in a lot of his work that really stood out, and I saw that in The Simpsons as well, and I kind of saw it in this too. So he's someone I do like. I do like his work. I just want to mention that. Let's see.
Yeah,
So
it's really, I like how it was, because I really liked the depiction of it, and it seemed realistic. It didn't seem like there was anything out of place, like any holes in what they were doing that wouldn't make sense for the time. But yeah, I really liked seeing that.
now the thing that was a little confusing to me as the movie went on is the basic premise is you have a love triangle, though it kind of extends. What do you have it when you have four people? It's not a triangle when
Love
there's a
square.
love square. Okay, there's a love square, and there was a fourth person involved. But basically, and it was a little confusing because I thought that Holly Hunter and Albert Brooks were together in some way, but then they weren't. And then she was going with William Hurt's character, and she decided to like him. And I was a little confused because I was like, are they just like dating back and forth and going? And how did you feel about the whole love story? It didn't seem to be. It seemed a little confusing to me.
Well, how I understood it was just three people, three coworkers, kind of trying to balance work and their emotions. And I took it as um, Holly Hunter. Her character was really focused on being a producer, and she had clearly been passionate about it for her whole life. And oh, hold on, a moth is in my room. Jesus. Okay, anyway, and yeah, so she was doing really well in her career, and she meets who's the, I'm just gonna say the blonde guy and the curly haired guy. She meets the blonde guy, and she thinks that they have some sort of connection because he wants to hear what she has to say, but it's just him genuinely wanting to hear what she has to say because he's going to be working with her in the future, right? And then the curly haired guy is her best friend. He has feelings for her, but she doesn't have feelings for him back. Um, and then I think as the movie goes on, she kind of starts warming up to the blonde guy, and at first, like after like she helps him with his career and stuff, at first she doesn't think that she has feelings for him, and then when her friend, the girl from the who's also working at the TV station, when her friend asks her if it would be okay to go out with the blonde guy, Holly gets kind of confused, and she's like, wait a minute, I don't know. And so I don't think they're ever. I don't think any of them are ever dating. I don't think any. I think the blonde guy, or yeah, the blonde guy and Holly go on a date sort of, and then it just kind of goes down the toilet. And I think it just kind of shows how it can be really complicated. And at the end of the movie, they all end up with different people.
Right. There was the, and then you say the blonde guy, that's William Hurt. William Hurt, his character dates another woman in the movie, during the movie as well, and that's why I was referring to it as what you referred to as a love square. Uh, and that threw me off too, because it was like, sh- uh, it's like they kept on jumping back and forth through that whole thing. So she's Holly Hunter's character said, I really like William Hurt's character, but then the other woman, whoever she was, I forget who it was, comes in. She was a very minor character, but still, she was part of the whole love thing. And then she goes out with William Hurt's character, and you can see Holly Hunter didn't like that, and the and I really towards, like I said, towards the beginning, it seemed like Albert Brooks and Holly Hunter, Albert Brooks being the curly haired character, he seemed to like Holly Hunter's character a lot. And then when she eventually announced that she liked William Hurt's character, that's when Albert Brooks went ballistic and told her to get out, because he really loved her, apparently, or really was in love with her, or at least heavily infatuated with her. So, and and then he said, as the story progresses, they eventually just break off and go their own separate ways. And at the very end, it wraps up and it shows them with different people. So, except for the one woman that William Hurt ever went with, we never found out what happened to her. So, and the woman you're talking about that was with Holly Hunter, I think that was Joan Cusack. Is that right? Is that the woman you're thinking of? The
I think
she had
maybe.
she had like the curly, really curly hair, like extremely 80s style hair.
Oh no, I think when you talk about the girl that the blonde haired guy goes out with,
Yeah.
that's who I'm talking about when I say Holly Hunter's friend.
Oh,
Friend.
okay, that one. Okay, so we're talking about
Yeah,
that. Gotcha.
because
Gotcha.
she asks Holly if she would be okay with it if she asked the blonde haired guy to go out. And Holly, that's when Holly thinks about it and she's like, wait a minute, I don't know.
Hmm.
Oh, the girl in the pink dress, right there. That's her.
Yeah, yeah, there's her. Yeah. I was thinking about this one over here on the far
Yeah.
left over there. So, gotcha. And yeah, but we were both talking about the same character before. I wasn't sure, like, but we're on the same page here though. So, but before we go too far, I will say the newsroom here is very much like, actually two things. The former WTOP newsroom, they've redone it since then, so I don't know what the new one looks like. The other thing I do want to add, going back in this, I forgot to add that when my dad when I was a kid, my dad worked in the media. He worked as a professional photographer, and he would go to places such as the Washington Star, which was at the time it went under in 1983, but at the time it was just as big as the Washington Post. He worked there, and he also worked at for UPI, which also is kind of collapsed, which was United Press International. And I remember going with him, and these newsrooms in there look very similar to these as well. So I thought those were both. Those are for print, like newspaper only, but still, even those look very similar to the newsrooms they're showing here. Just wanted to add that. So,
Yeah, it looked really. I really do enjoy I like how these kinds of 80s and 90s movies are really like looking directly into the past.
hmm. And I would say that the newsrooms that you're seeing here are probably still the same today. The only difference is what you would see, the technology would look different, obviously. So you wouldn't see the older phones. You wouldn't see videotapes anymore. And I will say the videotape that they used, right here, I've used those not at when I was at work, but when I used to work, did some TV work at a public access radio station back in the mid 90s. And I remember using these kinds of tape machines. They call them VTRs, or videotape recorders, and instead of VCRs. And these are real. These are the real things. So these aren't, like, they weren't just grabbing random things and throwing them in there. These were authentic. They tried to make it look as authentic as possible. The only thing they're not really showing was the control room itself. Basically, in a TV station, you're going to have a control room with a director, where the director controls the audio, what's going on, as also there's going to be an audio person there. The executive producers will be there coordinating everything and getting it all under. They didn't show any of that, which Oh, there it is right there. I guess they did show it right there. Sorry. They just kind of touched on it. You didn't, that's right. Here it is right here. I'm sorry. It was there all along. Sorry. I forgot. So, yeah, that's where Holly Hunter's character comes in and takes control a couple of times when she's talking to William Hurt's character and giving him advice. And William Hurt's basically, his character comes across as admitting that he's not really too bright. Is that right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he recognizes that people hire him for his charm and his looks, and he is bothered by that.
Mm-hmm. And he is and the whole thing with Holly Hunter when she's feeding him information through his earpiece. Whoops. Sorry about that. Let me bring this back down. When she's feeding that information to him, that's actually fairly accurate in radio and television. So getting back to the idea of how realistic was that, that's very accurate too. So you'll often have people doing that. It doesn't mean that they're stupid. It doesn't imply anything like that. It's just they're feeding them information that the person who's on camera or on mic, if it's radio, just doesn't have the time to get themselves there because they're focusing on doing the on-air product, and so they can't get that information themselves. So they have their producer, and they're either telling them through well, in a more modern setting, they might actually be using some sort of text format as well, which would be much more simpler. Back then it would be harder to do, but either feeding it through their earpiece or basically talking or feeding them through a text message of some sort.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like a teleprompter, but for an ear.
Yeah, and I've worked at a small radio brokered outlet that sent out radio shows through a satellite back in the late 90s, and I would produce some of these shows, and the host, I would do the same thing to the host. I would feed them, and it's one of these things you have to be very careful because you have to say it to them when they're pausing, or try to say it when they're pausing so that they don't mess up when they're trying to speak, so you don't throw them off. It's a delicate balance of making sure you feed it to them in the right way. So
yeah, I can imagine it would be real hard because I feel like if somebody was trying to talk to me while I was talking, I would trip over my words.
Mm-hmm. And this scene right here, I think I've experienced something similar to this, where Albert Brooks is on there and he's watching the newscast and he's calling up Holly Hunter to give her information and feeding it to her, and then the information gets right on the air, and he says, "Yep," and he says something about how it got on there pretty quickly. That's also very accurate as well. I thought that was done pretty good. So
that's cool.
Let's see.
I do. Wait, go ahead.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. I was trying to formulate something. Go ahead.
I do. I really like how this is kind of probably the most realistic love story sort of thing. I guess you could call it that, romantic situation shown on a movie that I've seen, because I feel like most of the time, no matter how kind of, I guess the word is toxic, the relationship might seem, like I feel like if the blonde guy or the curly haired guy got with Holly Hunt and it ended in a relationship for them, I feel like either one probably wouldn't have worked out very well, just because they seemed good as friends, and it seems like through the movie they were kind of exploring what it might be like as romantic partnerships, but I feel like it was best that they stay friends, and I feel like a lot of movies that are rom-coms would probably try to push the main character with some love interest by the end of the movie, just for the sake of, the ending being clean and neat.
Mm-hmm. And I will say that the fact that you brought the fact that that none of them got involved into a relationship is interesting, because there's an alternate ending that came out recently, apparently with the release of you can see it on YouTube. I'm not going to play it here, but the ending here where they're at BWI, which is the airport they're at, which is halfway between DC and Baltimore. I believe that's the actual BWI airport. There's an alternate scene where you see William Hurt's character. In the actual movie, you see him going off. Right there, you see him going off in the plane, so he never sees her again, essentially. Well, not till later. And then she gets into the cab. The alternate ending for this he gets off of that and comes in there and decides to be with her for the so they actually get involved in a relationship in the alternate ending.
Interesting.
So and basically they're in the cab and their emotions are coming out. They're frustrated. They're in love with each other, and they decide that after arguing and going back and forth for a little while, they decide that they're going to be together, and that was basically how it wrapped up. I don't know if there's going to be anything else, if there's going to be a follow up, like on the actual ending that we see on this version, that we see like 7 years later, and we see them coming back together, and obviously they never got hooked up. So, and but that in that version, it just ended right there with the cab ride. There was nothing further. I don't, like I said, I don't know if there's going to be any follow up in that version or not. So,
Interesting. Yeah, I like it better where they don't get together because I feel like Holly Hunter's character was she was nice, but she was kind of extremely devoted to her career, which is like perfectly fine, but maybe not the best for starting a relationship. And I feel like if she was going to get into a relationship, it should have been with someone on her like level of dedication to their career. And I feel like neither of the love interests were like that. And her best friend, I understand not wanting to be in a relationship with a best friend because they're your best friend. And sometimes you just don't really want to lose that kind of relationship. And he seemed, I don't know, kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but it just seemed kind of not right if they were to end up together. And the blonde guy, I feel like, wasn't quite smart enough for her tastes, I guess.
hmm.
And so it just kind of seemed like they all could have had a better suited love interest. So I'm glad that they didn't get together.
Yeah, and the was let's say the what was I going to say, when they get together at the end, you see that they were all with someone else, right? Or were they? I don't remember. Yeah, William Hurt was blonde hair guy. He was with someone else, right? I know Albert Brooks' character, he had children, and did Holly Hunter, she was with somebody too, but they didn't show him. Is that right?
Right. Because her character, she had just recently gone on a date with someone, I think. And she said that it's been going well for like a month or something like that.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, that's right. All right, so yeah, and yeah, so and we that's how we see them. Yeah, here's them at the very end. So that's how it wraps up and everything. They look a little, try to make them look a little older. And I will say before I forget, I don't want to forget this. Albert Brooks, I've seen him in at least two movies. This one and another one called Defending Your Life, and he pretty much plays the exact same character in both. It's almost like he's just coming on being himself. So it's kind
Interesting. Because it's interesting because he voiced a Disney character that I grew up watching in the movie Finding Nemo. He voiced the dad who was also like I mean, he was the dad in that movie was like very scared. It's like a dad fish. He was very scared of leaving the sea anemone and basically very cautious and not really open to um, kind of voyaging out and kind of very to himself. And it kind of seemed like his character in this one.
Oh, okay. I do. As you were saying that, I wanted to add. I did see him in two other movies. I forgot. There was one called The Scout, and I don't remember what kind of character he played in that one. And he was. I like that movie. I just haven't seen it in a long time. And he was in another movie where he did play a different kind of a character, but similar to what he was in, similar but not exactly the same. He played a more darker character, and a lot of people said that he's like a bad guy in this. Do you perceive him as being like a bad guy in this?
Wait, we're talking about the curly haired guy?
Yes, yes. Albert Brooks. Yes.
I feel like the I just I don't like when someone thinks that because they're in love with someone. We've talked about this. I think last time when I really hate it when someone thinks that since they're in love with someone, that person should also be in love with them because I feel like that's just very entitled and closed-minded way to look at the world, and that's just not how it works. And so I feel like the fact that he was a grown man, fully grown, like he looked like he was maybe in his 30s, and he still had that mindset. It was just kind of gross, but I don't know. Other than that, he seemed fine. He was like, it just, it seemed really rude the way that he treated her,
Yeah,
just because she didn't feel the same way, as if she could control that kind of thing.
right. Well, I want to add though, he was wrong. You're right. He shouldn't have treated her that way. It was very wrong. But I can tell you in my own personal experience, if I'm attracted to a person I'm with, a woman that I'm working with, and she doesn't show the same in return, it's very hard for me to want to be near that person after that. So, um,
Yeah. And I think we've also talked about that. That's how everyone feels. That's just a matter of kind of, he just seemed like he didn't know how to practice self control, you know?
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't act like that around the person. But I would. It also, I'd probably. I don't think I'd want to be around them that much more either. So
Yeah.
I might come across as being kind of rude in that way, just because I just want to deal with it. That's all. And I don't know. I know it's not. It's probably not a bad way, but I wouldn't do what he was doing either. I wouldn't scream and yell like saying "Get out of here." He did that, which I thought was
Right. He was
pretty
very
extreme.
extreme.
Yeah. So, and the other the woman that was, yeah, he was there, she was right there. That's the woman. No, she was only in there for like that little bit. That was it. So she was not. She always like she wasn't in the early part of the movie. But yeah, she was with him, and then yeah. So yeah, they all did have someone at the very end. I just wasn't remembering all the characters at the very end. I just wanted to bring that in there. That's all.
Cool. And then another interesting thing is that not only did the, I'm so sorry, I keep forgetting his name, the curly haired guy, not only did he voiced a really huge Disney character, but so did the girl. How,
Oh, Holly Hunter.
yes.
Oh,
She
okay.
voiced Mrs. Incredible. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
funny because I recognized her voice in like 3 seconds because I've seen The Incredibles quite a few times.
She has kind of like an accent in this, almost like like an accent of some sort. Or would you agree?
Yeah, it's like it's a southern, sort of southern twang.
And the first movie I ever saw Holly Hunter in, well, this, by the way, in case you're wondering, this is when she was virtually unknown still. She was hardly known by anybody at this point. So this is very, very early on in her career. The first movie I saw her in came out the same year, was called Raising Arizona. And in that movie, she played a different character and she played it well, but she still had that kind of high energy level that she has in this one. She could really do the part well. I thought she did an excellent job in this and in that movie. The only other movie I've seen her in was a movie with Richard Dreyfuss. I forget what it's called. I can look it up, but where she was Richard Dreyfuss and her were in love at the beginning of the movie. Richard Dreyfuss's character gets killed very early on, and he comes back as a ghost, and he has to try to convince, uh, as a ghost, he has to try to convince this other man to fall in love with her, which I thought was a really silly storyline. To force someone to have this other person fall in love with the person that he was in love with. I didn't because I watched the movie from beginning to end. I didn't really like that. That whole thing just didn't make any sense to me. So um,
Interesting.
I'm trying to. Here it is. I'll bring it up over here. Um, Here's all her acting. Here's Raising Arizona, broadcast news. Always, it was always. That's what it was. Always. That was it right there. So the basic premise. Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss, Holly Hunter. He was. Oh, and John Goodman was in that. John Goodman was he's almost always pretty good. But yeah, and they were firefighters, but they fought firefighters through their plane. They would fight fires by dumping loads of fire, whatever you call it, from the plane that would diminish the fires from the airplane. And his plane explodes near at the very beginning of the movie, and he has to train. It's actually, there are some funny scenes. It's not a bad movie. Just the general premise of him trying to force her, or trying to get this guy to fall in love with his wife, was just really bizarre to me. I didn't understand that concept. So
That is weird.
because they didn't, at the very end of the movie, they don't get to I'm giving it away, sorry, but they don't get back together at the very end of the movie, obviously, because she's still alive at the end and he's still dead. So,
Right, right. Yeah, if you scroll up, you could probably find um where her Incredibles movie. It's interesting because in that, I feel like she played. Oh yeah, there it is. Well, that's the Incredibles 2. She was in both the Incredibles 2 and the first Incredibles, which are quite spaced apart. But in that movie, I don't want to give too much away, but she's the mom. She's the one with the red hair on the side with the baby in her arm.
Hmm.
And it's a great movie. Love this movie. Again, bias of childhood, watching it in my childhood. But she plays in, I feel like in the broadcast news movie, she plays a character who's a little bit more erratic and with her like emotions just kind of like all over the place, and she's very dedicated to her career and that kind of thing. And in this movie she's like the opposite. She's the calm one. She is kind of trying to steer away from superheroism to kind of be with the family and stuff like that. And it's interesting. And she plays it. She has the same accent, and she just plays. I guess that's her just her regular, voice accent. But and she kind of just plays a much calmer character, kind of the level-headed one.
Oh, okay. I've never seen this movie. No, I do know of it, but I've just never seen it. So
It's a very good one.
I do want to get.
And
What's that?
on the top, I didn't notice this, but it says from the creators of Finding Nemo, and Finding Nemo is the movie that the curly haired guy is the dad of. That's
Right.
crazy how they have it up there. Yeah, that's cool.
I want to getting back to our movie. Let's see. I wanted to add there's a scene. If you notice when she gets into the cab, she's always telling the cab driver where to go.
Yeah.
Uh, the first time she does that, I she gets in the cab and she says, "Take me to a club at 15th in Vermont," and no, I'm sorry, 17th in Vermont. Excuse me. And then she says, if you take Connecticut Avenue down to 15th Street, you can avoid the lights down to Vermont, down to Thomas Circle, and you'll get there pretty quickly. And the cab driver makes this turnaround. In the movie, I assume you're supposed to think that he's looking at her like, how does she know all this? But the funny part is that I know DC well enough that what she said, most of that made no sense because Vermont and 17th do not intersect. Neither do Connecticut or 15th Street. And the only part that made any sense was traveling down Vermont through Thomas Circle. So my thought was when the cab driver turns around and looks at her, he's actually thinking, lady, you have no idea what you're talking about.
And if anyone would know the fastest route, wouldn't you think it was the cab driver?
Yeah. So, and then I will say this at the very end, I thought it was kind of interesting. She gets into the cab. Obviously, that's this scene right here. She tells the cab driver to go to DuPont Circle. And I mean, that's the DuPont Circle is well known, but she said, but they're not anywhere near DC. Essentially, this is closer to Baltimore. BWI is a little bit closer to Baltimore than it is DC. So I assume the cab driver would probably know, but the fact she just says DuPont Circle like they're at a DC airport, not at further up to Baltimore. It seemed a little odd. But then she does say avoid the Beltway and take go down New York Avenue, which does make sense. But a cab driver wouldn't take the Beltway anyway from BWI. So that part didn't make any sense either. So I'm just throwing that in there. So
It's interesting that they were so meticulous about the newsroom and the accuracy of that, but then with like something as simple as looking at a map and making sure all the roads connect, they didn't do that.
yeah, I assume it seemed to me like they grabbed the roads that they did mention, like Connecticut Avenue, Vermont Avenue, 17th and 15th, are all very close to the White House. So I assume they probably looked at a map and just kind of grouped them all together, just threw them in there to make it sound like something that made sense. They because the roads are close, but they don't. Like I said, a few of them just don't intersect, like they said. So
Right. Interesting.
so, alrighty. So as far as the movie, is there anything else you'd like to add about it?
No, I don't think so. I just think it's pretty unique for rom-coms because I feel like most rom-coms just kind of whether or not the two people seem good for each other, they kind of just shove them together at the end of it for tidiness. And I
Hmm.
like how this one didn't do that.
I
That's
will
all.
say, yeah. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. The I will say this without giving away the movie that it is because I want to give away the ending. But just in general, another movie that Albert Brooks was in, it was a rom com, I guess of sorts. I don't if you call it that, but basically at the end he does get with the love interest that's in the movie, but they've only known each other for 2 days, and for some reason in 2 days time he's like madly in love with her by the end of the movie. So and you're supposed to think that they go off and live happily ever after, like you're saying, but you're like, I'm thinking to myself, you only know someone for 2 days and you're madly in love with them. I don't think the relationship would, there's a very good chance it probably wouldn't work out. So
Yeah, probably only a month, maybe.
yeah. So, yeah, of course, a good workout. Who knows? But yeah, this one has a definitely different. Um, I was a little disappointed with the way that went. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just slightly disappointed. I thought that part could have been a little better, but it wasn't bad at the same time. So I did appreciate the news aspect. I thought they did a pretty decent job of capturing the way a news station works for sure. And overall, I would say that this movie, I would recommend it, but it's also not something I would put at the top of the list. Maybe give it like a 7 out of 10.
I would agree. I would agree. I would probably say 7 out of 10 as well. I would recommend it if you're just looking for like a 80s rom com sort of thing. I feel like this is a lesser known 80s rom com, so it could be good
Mhm.
if you
Yeah.
like have seen a lot of 80s rom coms.
And would you consider this a rom com? Some people were saying they didn't consider it that. I was watching other people. I was up in the air as to what to call it, but I could see it being referred to as that.
I think on Hulu it was under the rom com category. So
Oh, okay.
that's yeah, I just assume it has elements of romance and also it's like a dramatic it's more of a rom dram romantic dramatic romantic movie.
Yeah, because
A little more drama than comedy.
yeah, I was gonna say because there's not that much comedy in there as much as like a regular rom com would happen is what I'm saying. So
Right.
that's Joan Cusack, by the way. So she just like Jack Nicholson. She's another pretty well known actress. So I just wanted to bring that. So it's kind of funny to see Jack Nicholson in especially such a minor role. So
Yeah.
because he's usually like up at the top there doing something. He's just there just to be. I don't know. And I do. Oh, I want to add that I thought the whole thing with him and Albert Brooks' character, the curly hair guy, the whole thing where he hated Albert Brooks' character. Remember that he was holding a grudge near the beginning of the movie.
He was? I thought he just didn't care about him.
Didn't Albert Brooks say he said something one time that made his character it made him angry and he was still holding some sort of grudge or something. That's what I thought that.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right.
So and that's why Jack Nicholson's character didn't like acknowledge him or anything. He was like just acting like he wasn't there. I would say that's very
Ah,
prevalent in the news industry too, or at least in radio in general. So you don't want to make people angry because they'll hold a grudge forever, and I know I can attest to that. So
that's probably true of a lot of people with a little slice of fame, though, because I feel like a lot of people, once the fame gets to their head and the ego gets to their head, sometimes it's just they kind of turn into people where they think that they're better than those who make them upset or something, you know?
yeah, and also not just because they're famous, but people who are just have been in the industry for a long time as well. Not necessarily well known, but people behind the scenes who have big egos too. So for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just so there are a lot of people that you wouldn't be well known to the public, but would be well known inside the industry that would have that same kind of standing for sure.
Yeah.
And also I hate to criticize her, but Joan Cusack's hair, I don't know, I thought just ridiculous. I don't know. What do you think? I
About
didn't
what?
her hair. I don't know. Just like wait, was that? I guess that was common during the '80s. I kind of forgot. I don't know. I just
I
did.
like it. I like big curly hair though. I think it's fun.
Oh, you do? Okay, okay. I just didn't really care for it. That was just me, I guess. So
It was interesting to see her character cuz the kind of the only thing I know her from is this movie called School of Rock with Jack Black. I love that movie. And she played a stickler principal.
okay, I've never seen that one. Okay,
I think we should watch that one next. I think we got to watch School of Rock next. It's so incredible.
okay,
It's
okay.
like it's an appreciation of music. It talks about the importance of promoting music and the arts for children, but it's also funny because Jack Black is a comedic genius in my eyes, and it's great.
Yeah, I like Jack Black. I wouldn't hold him as to a level as you do, but I do think he's pretty funny for sure. So, so
Yeah, he just like I feel like Jack Black was he was pretty influential in like some kids movies and some like this movie that I watched as a kid. So
Okay. So yeah, for those people who are watching, yeah, we'll do. I know some people ask. I think it was one of our regular viewers is not on tonight, so he would often ask if we could tell at the very end. So yeah, well, that's the one we'll do. School of Rock, is that right?
yes, School of Rock.
Okay.
I
Alrighty.
think
Well,
it was made in the early 2000s.
let me see. I'll bring it up here. So, seconds. Here we go. Yeah, 2003. It looks like. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And again, since I did watch this as a kid, this was kind of like the movie that my dad showed me before he showed me the Blues Brothers, because this is a more like kid friendly tribute to music, and my dad was like very much like made sure that I appreciated music, um, and so I do have the bias of watching it in my childhood and loving it as a kid.
Oh, okay. You said Joan Cusack is in this? She like
Yes.
oh there yeah, I
Right
see.
there. Yeah.
Okay. And she's like a main character in this as well?
Yeah, she's a pretty main. There's a picture of her next to the two videos right there
Right
up
there?
top. That's a pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty much who she plays.
Oh,
Like that picture is a very good summation of the kind of character she is. The dull clothes, angry face.
okay. Well, cool. Alrighty. So we'll do that one next week. And before I go to our question, anything else you'd like to say about the movies?
No.
Okay. Let's bring up our cool poll here. See what we got here. See, I'll refresh it one more time. Just see what we got. Looks like it's only 38 votes so far. And but oh, we got one response too. Let me double check that. Norbert. Okay, so so far, okay. Do you like video games? Well, I won't read the whole question, but basically, we have 74% with yes. Okay, well, this is a mostly video game channel, so that would make sense, I guess. Let's see. Let tie with 11% with only some of them, and I don't care, and 5% with none of them. And let's see. Let me bring up my magnifier real quick.
Our same commenter on our video.
Yep.
Thank you.
Norbert 011 played all the ones listed. Definitely a cool genre of games. Okay. Well, if I had time, I probably might try to do this. I'm so busy though. I just, I don't know. The idea of learning a new game and trying to make a new one, play a new one. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming for me sometimes. So, but it's not. I just since I know the games I'm playing on a regular basis, I don't have to think. I can just play and do it. And I don't have to think. So I just go back in there and play them over and over again. So, but as far as these games go, I guess like Norbert says, they probably sound like pretty cool. If anyone else would like to add comments, let us know what you think. If you think that what you would recommend, if there's anything else we left out. We did have another person came on here, Trey. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Said yo and hopefully. I'm not sure what he's saying hopefully too. So sorry we missed that before. So other than that, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Nothing else. Thanks for listening, as always.
Yep. And also, if you'd like to support what we're doing, don't forget you can do that by if you'd like to purchase the service NordVPN, which is the affiliate link below. The service I know it's definitely a discounted rate. And I don't remember how much of a discount it is, but I do believe it's more than half off. And if you would choose to buy the service, it would support what we're doing, and we would really appreciate it. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Thank you.